I'm going to quickly take you through scholarships, global grant scholarships and district grant scholarships. I've been doing this now this is my 3rd year of doing this. And it's actually quite interesting. Some years, last year we didn't have a lot of queries around it or people that wanted to apply, but this year we've actually had something like 7 already, people. I want to just make it clear how it works so that you guys can understand. And I don't know how many of you actually know about the scholarships that's available, because it's really such an opportunity to help somebody through or give them the opportunity to study either here or overseas. The district grant scholarships can be locally or abroad, like I've just said. They study any subject, any length of time, sponsors secondary school, undergraduates or graduate students. At the moment, we don't have money at district level to pay for a scholarship. And I find that most of the people that do apply for overseas, that they got another opportunity overseas and they want to go overseas, so they need extra funding for studying. So I haven't really, I know that Greg has helped somebody with a little bit of funding on a district grant this year, so that they can apply for it. I think that we will, Greg, that we'll have to talk about this and see if we can build something up in district so that we can do more district grants and give the opportunity for people to go for district grants. There's as I refer district grant scholarship best practices online. There's a lot of information online if you want to do any of the scholarships at all. There's really quite a bit of information online, and it's easy to get to it as well. The global grants, if you do a global scholarship, it must be in one of the 7, it's now, or from next year, it's 7 focus areas. It must be a graduate level course or a research project that you're doing. It's either 1 to 4 years that you can apply for. And the key feature is the partnership between the district or club in the study location, which is the host club, and the district club or scholar home country, the international sponsor. What I find is that people actually send through or go on the website and see that there's a scholarship. And I think the one thing that is really very important, if you send something through for scholars that's interested in a scholarship, is to realize that there must be a club involved. There must be a club. So you will be the sponsor club. So that's the first point, is for the student to find a club that's interested in sponsoring them and helping with the cost before we apply for the global grant, because you need the seed money. I get people being referred to me, I can't do anything unless the client or the student has actually negotiated with a club for the funding of that project and helping them through the process. Because remember, somebody from outside Rotary does not know the processes. This is a process exactly like a global grant. So the same that applies for a global grant to a great extent applies for the scholarships as well. There's a timeline, and if you keep to the timeline, people, that's the other thing that I've got one yesterday, asking for a scholarship, but she wants to know, she has to be in Israel on the 12th of October. There's no way that you can do a grant in that short period. So they must be realistic. They sort of have to now start applying for next year's grant and not last minute. So the November to March is organizing a selection committee. It's the club that is prepared to sponsor that person that must do the selection and make sure that and vet the scholarship. I can't bet everybody that comes my way. I'll be doing only scholarships if I have to do that. So the club taking responsibility has to do the vetting of that scholar. You guys must look for scholarships and think about people that you would like to actually get the opportunity to go and study. Faith is on this webinar as well. She's one of my committee members. And Faith and I've also thought of getting a scholarship going in our club, but taking it from, because we work with a school that's really in a very, very poor area. And we are looking at actually in the club developing a scholarship so that we take somebody from grade 7 into a proper high school where they get proper education and get the opportunity to go further, so that we can in our club continue with the scholarship. That's just one of the possibilities that you can have look at. You have to conduct the interviews and select the candidates, or if somebody approaches your club wanting, it's your responsibility to make sure that that person is actually vetted and is in one of the 6 focus, at the moment, 6 focus areas, and that sort of thing. That is your job as the sponsor club to do. And then review and confirm the selection. Then to March to April, contact host district to invite participation. So you will contact the foundation and say, is the money available in the district? Because it works like I said, like an ordinary grant. Then identify host partners, and that's very important. The student needs somebody in the country that he's going to study at to actually look after that student and to make sure that the student gets what they need and where to go, and just to give them some guidance. So you need to, if the student's going to the UK to study, find a host club in the UK that can look after your student. You can't just send them. You have to have some host club that can actually look after the student. And then you start the application. Please don't send the applications to me. This sponsor club has to go online and do, or the student, and actually do the application with all the necessary other documents that's needed online. There is a candidate complete scholarship profile. They must complete the whole profile. There is a candidate sort of form that they can fill in just to get all the information together. And one of the important things that people don't think about is that you have to do a budget for the client, so for the scholar. The application must be submitted by 1 May. So if you now ask me for scholarship starting now, there's no ways we can do it. It must be submitted by the 1st of May so that there's enough time, and the earlier you can do it, the better. The grant will be approved, and then there's just the process. The process that I've put out here is on the website as well. Very easy to get to, very easy to ask the questions, very easy to go into detail into every section that you're looking for there. If you need any help, I've just been helping somebody with a grant as well. What's really, when applying is what I find is people don't know what is expected of them. The student must have a budget for the expenses. They must have an acceptance letter from the institution where they're going. They need a CV from with the experience that they have and where they want to go, and see that it's within the focus areas of Rotary. They must have an international sponsor, that will be the club here in South Africa, and then a host sponsor, which is overseas. I've spoken to Gregor as well as about the MOU, and it's good to have a MOU between you and the host sponsor on the other side, so that there's no that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, so that there's no opportunity of things going wrong. We're trying to avoid it as far as possible. I've also, online, there's a agreement that you can use as a base to do your own agreement with the student, so that the student also knows what's expected of them when they do get the grant, and what they are responsible for, and what the club here and the club overseas are responsible for. Then pointers for the online process is make sure that you have all the details of a client. There's a sample candidate application, like I said. So before you go online, make sure that you have all the information that you need for online before to start the online process. You go to My Rotary, go to Foundation, you apply for grants, and then go to Global Grant. And there's resources and references online that you can use, and it that says exactly what the steps are that you have to follow. And like I said, it's the Global Grant Scholarship Supplement. It gives you good guidelines. If people send me a application from a student, what I usually do is to send back to that person that sent it to me and the student all the information that I've given here. I've got a little package that I've put together. So I'll send that to everybody, to that person, everybody that's involved with the scholarship. So that you have the information and you don't have to go looking for it. I thought of just showing you a short sort of how the process works. If you apply for a scholarship, the South African club will be the sponsor club. So you will do the work. It's your job to help that client through the process, or the student through the process. You can't just leave it to the student, because they don't know how Rotary works. So you have to take them step by step. You have to help them to get an overseas club. You have to help them to do the application. You have to help them where to find the focus areas, and to make sure that they're within the focus areas. You have to help them with the budget of the expenses, so that you have some idea. You can't just apply for a scholarship. You have to give a budget on the application of what you need for, and it also tells you what you can apply for and what you can't apply for. You have to get the Global Grant Scholarship candidate application. I think if you give that to the from the word go to the student, they've got some guidelines to work according to. The Global Grant Scholarship Agreement, like I said, is also, I think, is quite important. So because it gives some guidelines again of where you're going with the scholarship, and what you expect of the scholar and the other clubs. Sponsor clubs, responsibility: help find the host, help the student with the application, make sure that all supporting documents is available and is uploaded online. And then my group, my scholarship committee is myself, Faith Bam, and then Nong Serote. Faith has got a lot of experience in Peace Fellows, which we're not going to discuss here. There will be a specific, I think on the 19th of October, there will be a session on Peace Fellows. Faith has got a lot of experience in doing Peace Fellows, so I've also to come onto the scholarship one as well, so that we can just have some, so that she will be very good in giving the guidelines. This Peace Fellows is a bit more onerous than the scholarships. If there's any questions that you would like to ask for the scholarship, you're welcome. I'm going to open it for questions. There you go. Yes, Faith.
Hi, Riana, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
I just wondered how it works on the budget with the exchange rate, because you draw up a budget now, and your pound to your dollar exchange is one thing if they're going to England. By the time the student gets there, the exchange rate has changed. How does that work?
We've had that question before, and what happens is the moment that they give it on, obviously on the budget that you put a hand in, and but they pay it immediately, and they can either they usually pay it to the host and not the sponsor club, the host club. So in the UK, so they will pay it to the club in the UK, so that they can help the client, the student, with running the money.
And then I've got another question also on that, and that is on the peripheral expenses for these students. How much do they need to have in rands, more or less, to see themselves through? Because I know there are a lot of additional expenses. Suddenly you've got to go to the dentist in pounds. You're a South African student, you've got rands, suddenly you've got to go to the dentist, or you just have those peripheral experiences. Is it that you take out a very, very good medical cover, but that doesn't always cover all those things? And then there's lots of other little, you go to a physio, but it's not covered on your insurance. So what should we advise students on how much they should have in hand, like 50,000 Rand or something like that? And some of them can't.
Yes, I think that's something that people don't really think about when they start applying to go overseas. But there is the host club must help the student with looking into that area. I've seen different amounts coming through from $34,000 to anything higher than that. So it's really, and that's just for the study sort of material that they need. But they do pay for travel expenses, and they do pay for, there's a whole list that they pay for and what they don't pay for. So if you go onto the website, it will tell you exactly what they can claim for and what they can put into the budget and what they can't put into the budget.
Okay, now that actually helps a lot with that question. And then the third question, which is my last question, otherwise I'll be here all day, and that is, you know, as far as scholars are concerned, we have things called professional students, and they just want to go on studying and people just paying. Where does Rotary sit on the professional student versus the very dire student who can't afford to even get there and cannot afford the bus fare to get there? And then the middle of the road student who might have their base degree and want another degree. And also the thought of 2 or 3 postgraduate degrees. At what point do we draw the line?
I don't think there's a specific line that is drawn by Rotary, but I do think that is exactly the responsibility of the sponsor club, to vet that student and to make sure that the student is doing what is what they're going to do is useful when they bring it back to South Africa, and working in South Africa. The one that I'm working with now, with Martin, is really an excellent one, but the student was vetted by that club, and having an interview, going through the process, not just pushing the person forward, going through the whole process of this is what she's going to do, this is why she's doing it, and it's the whole process of that. And that's the sponsor club's responsibility, to make sure you don't just sponsor somebody that continues studying and not using the skills that she's taught.
So maybe the advice that maybe you would think at that time is when you first get that candidate, you need at least a month lead-in time before the process starts.
Yes.
It would be something I would, probably think. Thanks, Riana.
Thank you for your questions, Faith. Anything else?
Yeah, hi, Riana. Evan Dent here, Joburg South 101. I have a few questions as well. First one relating to no funds being available at district level. My question there is there a mechanism or some plans to try and address this, and how can we address this?
Greg, can I hand over to you?
Thought it might be Greg, yeah.
Hi, everyone. Great to see you all on the webinars. I'm sorry I didn't get on very early. I had another function to attend. Look, the only way we're going to get funding to be able to provide global grants is if we as a district and as clubs contribute to the annual programs fund. Those are those funds that come back to us at 50% of the amount contributed every third year. So we, in the last couple of years, for whatever reason or other, have not been putting in our $100 per Rotarian. That is the goal that has been set. The every Rotarian, every year goal. The only thing that I could say here is that we've got to look to international partners. You must understand that there are districts out there that have got a lot more money than us. And anything that comes from the district designated funds will be matched by the foundation dollar for dollar. And again, to get a global grant into place, whether it is for a scholarship or any other type of project, as we said, coming the 7 areas of focus, you're going to need a minimum of 30,000 US dollars. The district can give some money, but considering the success of the global grant program, we are getting more and more requests for funding, and we have got a lower pool to deliver those funds. I hope, Evan, that helps you to understand where we're at.
And maybe just one sort of addendum on that thing, Greg. Our club has been contributing to every Rotarian every year for some years. How does that put our club into position then, rather than district?
The decision taken by the foundation committee is that we don't penalize clubs who are not giving to the foundation. We look at it that a club has been at least a contributor once in a 3-year period. I think we've got to be fair in that sense, because certain clubs, for whatever reason or other, might find it difficult to contribute every year. The goal this year is that we get every single club to contribute something. The goal is still $100 per Rotarian, but if a club can contribute $50, that will be accepted, because that will help to grow up the pool. It will help us to be able to support foundation programs, especially the global grant programs, going into the future. So it's a 3-year exercise. We've got to do what we can. But I think the most important thing is we've got to look at partners. Just to give you an update, if you're not aware of this, since the 1st of July, the contributions from the clubs themselves, which would be cash, or whether it is from a sponsor or a person who is supporting that particular student, let's assume that's what would happen, as has happened in the past. Those funds are not matched by the foundation. And again, the foundation's success with global grants and the fact that they've got involved just recently supporting clubs with disaster grants and COVID-19 grants has reduced the funds that the foundation has had. So my message is we've got to build those relationships with international clubs. And yes, we have got a couple of partners that are keen to help us. The International Country Committee, Germany, Southern Africa, is one of our big supporters. So talk to your foundation chairs and see what we can do to help you.
Right, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Greg.
PDG Greg. Oh, sorry, Riana, may I
Yes.
say something? Yes, I was just going to ask PDG Greg to clarify to participants the difference between the every Rotarian every year $100 and the $24.60 that Rotarians can also pay. Sometimes there's some confusion. What is a Rotarian obliged to pay per year? Is it the $100? Is it the minimum $24.6?
DG Stella, thank you brought that up, because yes, there is confusion on that. The $24.60 was the original amount that was put into to start the Rotary Foundation. That was a particular goal of a governor in our district. And it was a way to encourage and obviously to celebrate the centenary of the Rotary Foundation. But the goal is specifically the every Rotarian every year. That is the Rotary Foundation goal, and that is the goal that I've set with my committee. It is ambitious, but if we don't really try, we are not going to get there. And as you can see, we are already running short of funds, and it's becoming a little bit difficult to support every club that comes up with a global grant application.
Thank you.
I hope that answers it.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Riana. Sorry, I'm hogging the light here
No,
a little bit, but I have a few questions.
Yes.
I'm a little bit more interested in a local scholarship. It's something we're looking at the moment. And my question then is, if we don't have district funds available for us to sponsor a kid in need to a local school, can that be a global application?
Global applications, Greg, if I'm right, must be more than $50,000, eh?
Correct.
Yes, yes.
Trust me, I'm sure we can find a school that's going to cost more than $30,000. All right,
Yeah.
and just my final question around that. Would that also be for a localized sort of scholarship application? Would it also be online then? And I'm assuming yes.
Yes, yeah, that will be a district grant, yeah. Because you're going to go for a district grant, and there will be funds available for district grants again. So it's just that at the moment it's been used. So I do think that it will also be online, and yes, you can go ahead with it, yeah.
All
You
right,
can talk
thanks
to me, I can give you exact pointers. That you. Yeah, I would like to see that, because like I said to you, is Faith and myself is also looking in our club and doing something similar. So yes.
That's great. Once we get our act together, we'll talk to you directly then.
Okay. Thanks.
Riana, it's
Yes,
Shirley.
Shirley wants to
Evan,
say something.
if I may, thank you. Evan, maybe what you could consider is that the corporates who have CSI programs specialize in adopting a 2-year program. For 2 years, one session might be economic development. The next 2 years could be education and so forth. So if you look at the top 100 companies on the who's who, and you see what they are focusing on for that particular 2-year period, you can approach them for funding for the education. And I suggest that you do that like right now, if it's possible, because they all start looking at their budgets and putting them together in September, October. Greg, thank you.
Greg?
Yeah, Shirley, thanks. Yeah, that is definitely another partner that has been a big support to us. Guys, what you've got to understand is that by being in an area of focus, that student is committing to come back into the community that student comes from and assist that community. It's not just a matter of allowing that that person to go out, educate themselves, and obviously, for their benefit. It's a lot more than that. It's coming back into the community. So if you're talking about a local school, maybe what one should look at there is not necessarily school, because there you'd be looking at possibly district grant funding, and we can discuss that in one of the other talks. But when it comes to global grants, you can get an international partner to do it in reverse, if I can refer to it in that sense. And again, support a community within South Africa.
I have found that that there's quite a few of overseas clubs that are very interested in supporting education in South Africa. So yes, I don't think you'll battle to find something of a club overseas to help, to support you. Okay. Anything else?
Riana, also,
Yes.
I know the casinos haven't been open, but the casinos have to set aside X percentage of their income turnover for community-based projects within a 100-kilometer radius of the casino. So if you're looking for funding and you go and see them, you could perhaps do something on the education and the grants as well.
Okay, Thank you. Thank you. Anything from anybody else? Greg, you haven't been there in the beginning. You want to say something? You can have the final word.
Is that myself you're referring to?
Yes, Greg.
I think I've said too much. I think what's really important, I see, I'm not sure who's in Gaborone, but they want to give us their point. Go ahead.
You muted. You muted.
Yeah, I thought I was getting so good at the Zoom thing, but yes. My comment is, I think it's similar to what Evan is sort of saying, and also Riana, you mentioned it earlier. We as a club are thinking about, we know that it seems to be quite a process to get international funds or to get district funds and that for students. And we're thinking about setting up our own scholarship scheme where we'll get our own funds for that individual, like what you said, maybe sponsoring some child to go to a better school or something like that to get educated. So that's one thing that we're looking at. And my understanding is that in terms of what Evan was saying is, if you're sponsoring somebody in your local area or in your local country or district, you can only really apply for a district grant because the global grant is for studying abroad, if my understanding is correct.
Is it necessary that, Greg? I don't think it's necessary.
Look, Douglas, as I said, you could switch it around. You're correct that it's got to be an international project. But if the international club sponsors that student here, that makes it an international project.
Okay, thank you.
Just to give a little bit more information on district grants, just pencil into your diaries the 18th of October, sorry, the 31st of October. We've got the training session on grants, and we will go through that. But if you're looking at funding, let's say, a person at a high school or something like that, tertiary, secondary education, you can consider putting in an application for a district grant. District grant applications will all be done, or the application will be requested in May 2021. But it doesn't mean you have to wait till the last minute to do it, as some clubs tend to do. And obviously I can help you in setting up that. Okay.
Don't leave your grant applications to the last minute, because something goes wrong and then you're late and you don't get in. So it's better to just do it when you've got the time, and so that if there's something wrong in the application, that you still have time to correct it. Righto, people. Greg, thank you for joining us. We're glad you did join us. And thank you for everybody that did join us. You are welcome. I had my email address up there. You are really welcome to contact me if you need to find out something from me. Like I said, I've been working with Martin, and we're sort of there now with his application for a scholarship. I'm quite excited to see what's going to happen there. So yes, thank you very much, guys. And I think you must have a lovely weekend for the rest of the weekend. And please remember the rest of the foundation training seminars. Join us for all the others, please. Thank you.
Yeah, just sorry, Riana, just on that. Do
Yes.
we have a list of the training, and could that be sent out? Because I don't have that.
Greg?
Yeah, that list is available on the district website. But what it will be is every second Saturday going forward is going to be training. And I can quickly just give you an indication. On the 19th of, the 3rd of October, it's stewardship and benefactors. On the 17th of October, it is the Peace Scholarship and the vocational training teams. And on the 31st, it will be grants. That will be 2 hours on district global grants, disaster grants, and grants of scale, which is a new grant that has just come up. So I will arrange that this information gets sent out again to all club presidents and foundation chairs.
Thank you very much.
I think we must also just ask the president that's on the webinar here is that you actually give that information through to your club, please, because we found that the information doesn't necessarily go through. So please make sure that your club knows about the foundation seminars.
I think DG Stella had something to include.
No, thank you. It has been a wonderful Saturday morning. And I just wanted to thank everybody who gave up their beauty sleep to attend this training. It's really been nice. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. It was good to have you all on. So thank you very much to all of you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Riana.
Bye.
Thank you, Grace.
Have a
Thanks,
great
everyone.
weekend.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.